Day 11 past my reconstruction surgery date, and it's great to be home. It's been a long 10 days, and as you can see, I'm still in my pajamas. Surgery went well, and it was very long. It was 12 hours, and while I did expect 48 hours of absolutely horrendous time, I never imagined that it would actually be 10 days of the most horrendous time of my life. I ended up needing blood transfusions on day 3 and day 4. I needed a few of them because my hemoglobin had dropped so low, which also resulted in very low blood pressure, which also meant that they couldn't get me out of bed and get me mobile until about day 5. It's taken a long time with recovery.
It's day 3. I feel like I've been run over by a bus. And yet I certainly am saying to myself, what on earth did I do this for? I am feeling better today. I've just got a few issues with some low blood pressure, low hemoglobin, and I've got a bit of a cough because I've been in bed too long. I'm really happy with the flap and it's taken really well. So it's just now just recovery. So I'm 4 days post-surgery, and I have to admit it's pretty rough. I've now got 2 collapsed lungs, and they're going to start me on some antibiotics because the risk of infection is quite high. So yesterday I had a fainting session. It was because my hemoglobin is so low and my blood transfusions hadn't gone in quick enough yet. And because my hemoglobin was so low, it causes me to faint and very low blood pressure. So I did faint yesterday with all my children. And the worst thing was it just ended up with all these nurses in the room and then pushing alarm buttons everywhere. But I did come right. I have to sit in this upright position so I can breathe. Would I still go through it again? Ask me in a few days' time. There's sometimes when I just can't catch my breath and I'm trying to cough and I'm trying to catch my breath and I'm trying to cough and I go on the nebulizer and it still takes about 15 minutes to get the cough up, but it comes away. So it's day 8 after my reconstruction. It's been a long 8 days, but today I am starting to feel a lot more alive. The first 5 days were like I had been run over by a truck, and then they'd all by 20 trucks, and they'd all come back and reversed over me again. It was pretty rough. With low hemoglobin, I required multiple blood transfusions and also low blood pressure, which also meant that I couldn't get off the bed. So it was 5 days before they got me out of bed to even get me to standing and walking, which has really hindered my recovery. I've also been quite short of breath and had to have chest x-rays, and it's just a result of being in theatre for 12 hours, recovery for 6.5, and then on a bed flat for five days. So I'm starting to come right and everything's looking okay. Today though, on day 8, because of my breathlessness, it wasn't really coming quick enough for them. So I had an ECG this morning which showed a few wobbles, and then they decided that I should have another chest x-ray, and then I also had to have a blood arterial gas. So the ECG showing a few wobbles, they then decided they better get a heart team down to check me out. And the chest x-ray luckily was clear. So from here on in, it's just all about recovery, going slowly. I've just started today to be able to walk by myself. So just as we've been recording, the doctors have just come in and told me that my arterial blood gas is actually, the oxygen is actually significantly low in my blood, to the point now where they're hurrying up with a CT scan for me tonight to rule out whether or not I've got a blood clot. I'm gutted, I'm scared shitless, and it's not really what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be oh, you'll get better as the days go on. I was hoping to go home tomorrow, and now I'm wondering if I ever will get home. Cancer is just such a gift that keeps on giving. I have to admit that by day 9 I was ready to go home and said to them, it must be home day today. But I was still quite short of breath. I've been struggling a bit with my shortness of breath. I've had to have a couple of chest x-rays, and I have got a bit of collapsed lungs there on the basis of both my lungs. Just a result of being on the operating table for 12 hours and then being laid up in bed for 5 days before they could get me up. The opportunity to get me out of bed in those first few days was not going to happen. They said as soon as they'd got me out of bed I would have just fainted and caused more issues. That's why they didn't get me out of bed so quickly. In hindsight, I wish they had got me out of bed. So my chest x-rays showed that I did have some crackling and some collapsing of my lungs, but it was nothing major. It was just there. I was somewhat gutted when they told me I had to have a CT scan. The risk of the increased risk of cancer from having multiple CT scans is well researched.
But anyway, I went and had it anyway. It meant that I had to have a big line in my arm, which really, I don't do injections very well, so it was just another absolute ouch moment. The CT scan was over and done with within about 5 minutes though. It was quite easy, lie still and just suck my breath in when they told me to. But being so breathless did make it a bit harder to do, just like I get breathless now when I'm talking here. I got back to the ward and they told me that within half an hour I'd have the results, and so I stayed up. This was about 10 o'clock at night. By 4:30 in the morning, after repeatedly asking my nurse to track a doctor down so I could find out results, I still had no idea, and I fell asleep. I had stayed awake wanting to know the results, as I was quite concerned that if I did have any clot, I would need blood thinners, and they had already informed me that there was a chance that I would lose my flaps, i.e. my new boobs. So 4:30 I fell asleep, and I slept through until 6:30 when they came and woke me when they were checking my drains. I asked my nurse and she said, nope, it's all clear, it's all okay. My morning nurse came on and she was just amazing. She got me up, removed my last drain, got me dressed, packed, ready to go home. And I was just waiting on my discharge papers when my surgical team came in and said, we're really sorry, Sarah, we've got it wrong. You've got 2 blood clots, 1 on each lungs. I've got bilateral pulmonary embolisms. I was gutted, shattered, absolutely dumbfounded how they could actually have it so wrong. Therefore, I wasn't allowed to go home. And I now had another medical team introduced called the general medical team, as well as my surgical team. Then there was also the wee hiccup as well, because I'm on tamoxifen, my anti-cancer drug. I can't be on that because it has a risk of blood clots. I can stay on it now while I'm on my blood thinners, but as soon as I stop my blood thinners, I have to come off it. What I come off it and go on to, I don't know yet. So now my oncology team is back in the picture quite frequently as well. I'm overwhelmed, I'm shattered, I'm exhausted, I don't know which way to turn. And in some days I get up and I think it's just the beginning of the end of my life. I've been told that I'm allowed home for these 4 days until I go back, on the condition that I do nothing. That I don't, because I just expected that I would come home from hospital and start to increase the amount I'm walking and the amount of exercise that I'm doing until I was fit and strong again. For these next 4 days, they have asked that I do nothing. I have to admit, I get tired really easily. At 8 o'clock every morning, I have to be in town so I can have an injection and blood tests while they work on the balance of the blood thinners in my blood. I'm really struggling with all these needles, really struggling. So I have to admit, getting up this morning, we need to leave by 7:15 every morning. I'm absolutely shattered by I'm home by 9 o'clock. And it's out of my clothes and into my jammies as I feel like I've just run a marathon. And it's time for a sleep, and in fact I do sleep. I have to work twice as hard to catch my breath, which does make me fatigued and tired. They've informed me that this can go on for months and months and months, and that there'll be days and I just go, wow, I feel absolutely amazing, and that I've turned the corner and it's all over, and the next day I won't be able to get off the couch. I have to admit, one of my emotions is somewhat pissed off. I've had a guts full of this breast cancer. You can just piss off.